Holy cow. What a wonderful, wonderful way to come into this room. Ladies and gentlemen. All right, now, you're going to have to listen to me a little bit before we turn it over to the next Prime Minister of Canada. This morning, the leader and I met with a number of Liberal candidates from across the country to discuss the economy. And what struck me most about the meeting that we had with all of those Liberal candidates, future cabinet ministers, future ministers of finance, future ministers of everything, it was how forward their approach, how much they look to the future. And I'll tell you why that is. It's because Liberals understand what makes the economy tick. But what we really understand is what all of you in this room understand. We understand who makes the economy tick. We understand that it is human beings who want to have good families and raise their children. That's what it's all about. And those people, with their families, they expect that government is going to be more than just simply an idle observer of the passing scene. We know Justin Trudeau understands that you have to invest in people, and the difference between Liberals and Conservatives and the NDP, the difference between Liberals on the one hand, Conservatives and NDP on the other, is we understand that you can invest in a people's needs. You can invest in a country's needs and build the economy at the same time. In fact, that's how you build the economy. Now, let me tell you, the only goal that the Conservatives had is their fight against their deficit. Well, I know something about deficits. I know a lot about theirs. This was their deficit. They created it. They created it before the recession of 2008, and they haven't gotten rid of it. They took over a surplus of $13 billion from us, a projected surplus of over 5 years of $100 billion, and as a result of Conservatives' mismanagement, our national debt is now $150 billion higher than it would have been. So, the fact is that the damage from the Conservative regime never ends. They have
for Harper to go, Paul!
They have spared no generation from their attack on the most vulnerable. And let me simply give you one example. They have refused to bring the Canada Pension Plan up to date. And when Kathleen Wynne, the Premier of this province, sought to fill the gap, Stephen Harper said, "I won't work with you." Stephen Harper said, "I won't work with the province." You know what that is? That is, I'll tell you what that is. When we solved, yes, sir. You tell me. Get Harper. All right, wait a minute. Now, okay, now this woman here said that Harper's got to go. Is she right? Now, let me just do one thing, because I know you want to hear. I know you want to hear from Justin, and so do I. I just want to make one further comment on the economy, but from a different point of view. I want to talk to you about the economy in a context that most people don't talk about. I want to talk to you. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Paul.
Okay.
Can't hear you. All right.
We can hear you.
I want to talk to you about the economy in a context that very few people do. We liberals are the only ones that seem to raise it this way. You cannot have a strong economy unless there is confidence in your democratic institutions. This is true. Take a look at the world. Every country that doesn't have a strong economy, every country that has economic problems that are not being solved, it's because the government's institutions have been attacked. Well, then you have to understand that. And once you understand it, then you have to ask the question, why is it that Stephen Harper continues to attack the democratic institutions of this country? Let me ask you some questions. Stephen Harper's government has virtually attacked every officer of Parliament who has dared to state the facts or to disagree with them. They have attacked the people who are in charge of nuclear safety. They have attacked the parliamentary budget officer. They attacked the privacy commissioner. They attacked the head of Statistics Canada. And they never stopped trying to undermine the Parliament of Canada. Gross omnibus budget bill. Take a look at the budget bills of this government. They're this thick because nobody can understand what is in them. They have finance ministers who don't speak to Parliament, but speak only to partisan audiences. Look, I'll tell you something. There are a number of people here who are running to become members of Parliament. They want to represent you. They want to represent the Parliament of this country so that the great debates, the things that you want, can be discussed. Well, what did the Prime Minister's office do when it wasn't trying to cover up other stuff? What did it do? I'll tell you what it did. They referred to the committees of Parliament as a lot of useless red tape. They said that the people that you send to Ottawa can't debate. They said that the people that you sent to Ottawa are not supposed to discuss the major issues of the country. Well, let me tell you, that's not my country, and it's not your country. All of this to say that the institutions of our government, which Stephen Harper continues to attack, are crucial if we're going to have confidence in our economy, whether it be the Supreme Court, the Parliament of Canada, the budget officer, or those who are there working for you and I. And if anything speaks to the need for Justin Trudeau and a Liberal government, it is the Conservatives' disregard for the institutions that make our democracy work. And that is why the Conservatives have exhausted whatever ability they had to govern. Their disdain for Parliament, their disdain for the Charter of Rights, their disdain for the Supreme Court of Canada, their refusal to work with the provinces and the municipalities to strengthen our federation and our country, their unwillingness to confront major economic challenges, their lack of a long-term strategy to promote economic growth for the young people in this country, their ideological arrogance, the arrogance with which they dismiss the people of Canada when the people of Canada want to be heard, their rejection, Let me just say to you, they have rejected evidence-based policy. They have rejected transparency. They have turned their backs on every Canadian who doesn't think like they do. And so clearly, the time has come for the Conservatives to go. Canadians deserve so much better. to say that this is the time for all of us as Liberals to put our shoulders to the wheel. We have the leader. We have the team. Now is the time to make Justin Trudeau the Prime Minister of Canada.
Thank you, my friends. Merci, mes amis. Oh, thank you for that incredibly warm welcome. Thank you for all your enthusiasm, and specifically thank you again, Prime Minister, for those incredibly kind words. Thank you for your support and for your wise counsel. When we see Paul, we are reminded what real economic leadership looks like from a Prime Minister. And speaking of real and great leadership, my dear friend Hazel McCallion is with us here today. Where are you, Hazel? Where's Hazel? Where are you, Hazel? There she is. There we go. Hey. Thank you, Hazel, for being here. And of course, as you've seen from all the signs, we also have a fantastic team of candidates here today. Over 30 terrific candidates who are ready to bring real change to Ottawa. And of all the great team members, all the great dignitaries, there is one person I want to single out tonight, someone who has been a strong representative for this community. Gurbach Smalley is here tonight. Where are you, Gurbach? There you are. Now, Gurbach knows what it is like to make change happen. Not only was he your MP for 18 years, but he was a pioneer in Ottawa. He was the first Turban Sikh in the House of Commons, and he broke barriers. Gurbach Smalley made great strides not only for the Punjabi community, but also for diversity in Canada. Thank you for being here tonight, my friend. Thank you for all your help and support. And thank you all for all this enthusiasm, your support, and your hard work so far in this campaign. All those phone calls you've made, all those signs you've put out, all those doors you've knocked on, all those conversations you've had right across the GTA and right across the country about bringing real change to Ottawa. Thank you very much. So let me ask you, my friends, let's hear it. Are we ready for real change? This is an important election, my friends, and I am determined to win it. We've got a strong team and a solid plan to bring real, positive change to your life. Because that's what this election is all about. You. We know the Conservatives. They're old. They're tired. They're out of ideas. They have no plan to grow the economy or to create jobs. In all fairness, Harper's been distracted these past few years, and no wonder. I mean, that's what happens when you mislead Parliament and the Canadian people. You spend all your time and energy trying to cover it up. Think about it. Harper's favorite senator, on trial. His chief of staff, on the stand. His right-hand man in the House of Commons and the government's point man on the Ethics Committee, sent to jail. You know, it's getting kind of hard to tell whether Mr. Harper is running a campaign or just plain running. Canadians have had enough of this. We need a new government and a new plan that will grow this economy. That's why our plan starts with more money in families' pockets to help the cost of raising your kids. We'll raise taxes on the wealthiest 1% of Canadians and cut them for the middle class. And Mr. Mulcair has no answers. He confirmed that today when he signed on to Stephen Harper's economic policy. So I have a couple of questions for Mr. Mulcair. Why does he want to take billions of dollars out of the economy in a recession? And what public investments will he be cutting to do that? Let me tell you this. The choice in this election is clear. It's between jobs and growth or austerity and cuts. And Tom Mulcair just made the wrong choice. But let me tell you something else. One of the only reasons that middle-class incomes have grown at all in this country over the past generation is because women have entered the workforce in record numbers. So Tom Mulcair should be ashamed of himself for breaking his word to attend what would have been the first leaders' debate on women's issues in more than 30 years. I mean, we all know that Mr. Mulcair doesn't get it, but now we know that, we all know that Mr. Harper doesn't get it, but now we know that Mr. Mulcair doesn't get it. I confuse the two sometimes. But you know what? You get it, Liberals get it, and Canadians get it. Women's issues are everyone's issues. Vous savez, dans cette élection, les Canadiens auront à choisir entre notre plan, qui va créer des emplois et de la croissance, ou un plan d'austérité et de coupure. Monsieur Mulcair a fait son choix aujourd'hui, et c'est le mauvais choix. Il est temps pour du vrai leadership, ambitieux, inclusif et surtout rassembleur. Now, earlier today, I stood with Prime Minister Paul Martin and introduced Canadians to the strong economic leadership we have on our Liberal team. Because in order to make a real difference, and in order to build an economy that works for the middle class, we need to invest in jobs and growth. It's what made Canada successful in the decade before Harper Conservatives, and it's what will make Canada successful again. You see, that's the thing about real change, my friends. You can't just say you'll change things. You need to know how to make it happen. And that's what the Liberal Party has always done. But more than that, that's what Canadians have always done. We have always stepped up. We have always been there for our neighbors, for future generations, for our community. Canadians have understood that living in this country is one of the most incredible things that we could possibly be as humans. We have an opportunity and therefore a responsibility to step up and continue to believe that better is always possible. You know, I have many points of disagreement with Mr. Harper on a wide number of things, from tone to approach to nastiness to wedge issues to divisiveness. But the thing that I disagree with him most on is his lack of ambition for our country. He wants Canadians Canadians to think that better just isn't possible. That he is the very best manager we could possibly have of the economy. But the failed leadership he's showed on the economic file over the past 10 years shows that the only real risk is going to be sticking with a failed plan by Stephen Harper. And his use of attacks and divisiveness undermines one of the great things about Canada. One of the things that we've figured out better than just about any other country in the world, and this room is an extraordinary example of it. We have understood in this country that our differences, that diversity is a source of strength, never a source of weakness. Unlikely country works because we all understand that to be a Canadian, we bind ourselves together by shared common values. Values of openness, respect, compassion, a willingness to work hard, a desire to be there for each other. These are the things that bind us together in love for our country and hope for the future. And that is what it comes down to. You know, being a citizen in this country is more than just paying your taxes, obeying the law, and voting from time to time. Being a citizen, and you're all proof of that, is understanding that being engaged in your community, taking an interest in your neighbors, understanding that your choices and your actions shape the world around us is at the very heart of the responsibility that comes with being a Canadian. And that's what we have to get back to. So in the coming months, my friends, I'm counting on you to knock on those doors, to put in those lawn signs, to make those calls, to have those conversations, and demonstrate once and for all to Stephen Harper that all the money in the world can't stop change when Canadians want change. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.